Welcome in. It's the Second Cut Podcast, and we are 18 holes in at the United States Open Championship. Greg DuCharme is here, and we are ready to rock and roll through a round one recap. Gregors.
Whew, what a day this was, Rick. I mean, there were shockingly some complaints about Oakmont earlier today that I guess it wasn't hard enough. I thought the setup today was perfect. You know, you're rewarded for good shots, punished severely for bad shots. The greens were flying. This was just phenomenal day of golf.
What could have possibly have been the complaints on a day where the scoring average was 74.63? That is 4.5 plus shots over par. Two solitary holes, the 4th and the 17th, played under par. The rest were over par. The range of scores 66 to 85? No, to 87. And then whatever George Duangamene does on the last hole could be even higher than that. So yeah, I think that's pretty good.
Yes, this was a real test. But the thing that I liked about it, and this is the thing when it comes to difficult setups, you don't want it to be unplayable, right? You want good shots to be rewarded, and these guys are good. They're going to hit very good shots quite often, and those were rewarded. And when they hit mediocre shots, they get punished. When they hit bad shots, they get severely punished. That's the way this game works. Right now, only I guess it's going to end up this way. Only 10 players under par after round one. I would expect that number to dwindle as the day continues, the week continues.
Paul says, don't lie, Greg. It sucked. Look at the leaderboard. That might be tongue-in-cheek. Colby says, yeah, you're not selling me on the guys at the top at all. Let me take you back in time, Greg. I'll put you in my time machine. It was about a month ago. It was about this time on a Thursday night. It was Quail Hollow. And everyone said, look at this crappy leaderboard. We're going to get stuck with so-and-so winning this, that, and the other thing. And you know how it ended? Star-studded, my friends.
Yes, this is what happens in major championship golf. You also, I mean, JJ Spaun came in second at the Players this year. Right? He's having a phenomenal season on the PGA Tour. He's been a great player all year. Siwoo Kim has been an absolute stripe show. I mean, Ben Griffin has been one of the best players, not named Scottie Scheffler or Rory McIlroy on the PGA Tour all season. So there's plenty of names up here. While it may not be what you like, I promise you this, it's going to change through the week. And it could change very quickly.
Yeah, let me tell you, as somebody who has a little bit of exposure to Sam Burns, let me tell you how quickly it can change, because this man was 3 under par with 4 holes to go, and he finished bogey, double, bogey, bogey, and finished at 2 over. So yeah, it can change pretty quickly. The other thing, Greg, so I found this really interesting. Cameras, right, do not do a good job of showing undulation. We know that from plenty of years at Augusta National. We just know that, like, it's just television cameras do not do a good job of showing the undulation. So early in the day, it was jarring to me how much these balls continue to roll out, because it doesn't look like there's a lot of undulation there. And then the balls would rip across the green. And I'm like, oh yeah, they're like very, very severe greens.
Yes. And the fairways too.
Yeah.
I mean, Rory McIlroy early on hit a tee shot on the par 5 12th that bounded down the fairway, right? I mean, it's hard to imagine it getting even faster. And the course is soft, right? I mean, think about that scoring average that you had. This is just incredible. The scoring average, nearly 5 over par, and the greens were receptive. The wind was less than 10 miles an hour, and it was somewhat soft, and the scoring average was 5 over. Like, if this was any other setup, if it was most other major championship venues, the scoring average would have been much closer to par, because the conditions were ideal scoring conditions, and it still played this difficult. So, I know there's not going to be a ton of weather for the rest of the week, at least wind wise. We'll see what happens with rain, but boy, this golf course just as is brutally tough. And a lot of it has to do with that undulation that you mentioned.
I sometimes like to start with the round of the day. Sometimes I like to start with the guy who posted the best round early. I like to start chronologically. Sometimes I like to start with the leader. It's all the same. It's all the same guy. So we can start squarely with JJ Spaun, who shot a bogey-free, I repeat, bogey-free, and I think we have the scorecard, Mina. Are we ready for that? A bogey-free 66 around Oakmont, the only bogey-free round. He did all of his damage on the back nine of the golf course, his first nine. He turned in 31, and he finished with 10 consecutive pars to post this score.
This was just phenomenal. His ball striking was really solid early on. He kept it out of the thick rough for most of the day. He did get into it. He found it a couple times on the front nine, but for the most part, he kept it out of the thick rough. He missed fairways into bunkers or into the intermediate cut. What was most impressive to me, though, well, yes, he hit phenomenal shots. Like the shot at 16 was ridiculously good. But what he did so well was scramble. Yeah. And sometimes it was even the second putt after hitting a green. He made everything in that 7-8 foot range. He was just pouring them in, sometimes even out to 16 feet. I think he only missed one putt inside of 20 feet all day. But he still hit the ball pretty well. It was a nice, solid ball striking round. He kept it out of trouble for most of the day. And because that putter got hot, he was second in the field in strokes gained putting. All of a sudden you get a bogey-free round of 66.
4.2 strokes gained putting. That's 90 feet, 4 inches, 26 putts. He scrambled like a maniac, as Greg mentioned. Whew, that was hard to say. It's been a long day. 6 of 6 scrambling. Hit 12 out of 18 greens. The total number of strokes that he gained now that this round is complete, 8.6. Greg, that is going to be the second best major championship round of this year. Do you know the only man who shot a better major championship round this year?
It's
a really tough one, actually.
Oh, man.
So this is the 9th round of major championships.
The 9th round of major championships.
Yep.
Was it Justin Rose round 1 of the Masters?
Wow, no, but that's now the 3rd best. So before JJ, that was the 2nd best. Very, very good one. Not correct.
Wow. All right, I'm gonna have a hard time with it. There's no way it was Rory in round 2 or 3. I don't think you wouldn't say it was a tough one if it was Scottie round.
That's right. I would not.
Yeah. I don't know. Who was it?
It was Johnny Vegas.
Oh,
this is why it's hard. So it was the opening rounds at Quail Hollow, and he did it as like the last man on the golf course, and he made like 3 or 4 birdies over his final couple of holes and snuck it up in there. And that was the guy that Thursday night, everyone was like, oh, Johnny Vegas is going to win the PGA championship.
And he played well. He played really well. Played well the rest of the week too, but did not win. Somebody else decided to go win that thing by 4. So yeah, a lot happens. A lot happens coming down the final 3 rounds of a major. But what I'm really impressed with is JJ's performance today, and what I'm very curious with is what happens over these next 3 rounds, because I don't get the sense that he's going to just go away. This is like a building block. You don't get these opportunities very often, but he had an opportunity like this recently this year at the Players Championship. He was in a very similar kind of situation, playing with a lead, handling big time pressure moments day after day after day. I think that could go a long way for JJ continuing to perform well over these next 3 rounds.
JJ Spaun, bogey-free 66. He is your 18-hole leader Let me get to Si-Woo Kim, who shot a 2 under 68. He is in a tie for third. Tristan Lawrence is solo second. Sometimes I say, Tristan, do it again tomorrow. We'll talk about you tomorrow. This was just 2 bogeys on the card for Si-Woo. And then he had the quote of the day, Greg, and I'm going to try to play it. Bear with me here. I'm hoping that I'm sharing the audio here. Let's find out.
Honestly, like, I don't even know what I'm doing on the course, so I kind of hit.
Can you hear that?
Yes.
Oh, you can? Okay, here we go. I'll start it over then. Here we go.
Honestly, like, I don't even know what I'm doing on the course, so I kind of hitting good, but feel like this course is too hard for me, so kind of like no expectation, but I played great today.
All right, so if you could not hear that, he said, and I quote, honestly, I don't even know what I'm doing on the course right now. He would then go on to say that the course is too hard for him and that he has low expectations because of it.
Well, remember when Brooks Koepka said that half the guys are out because, when he went through and ran down the field, and how majors are easier to win because half the guys think that way. But, he didn't play that way. That's the fascinating thing. Si-Woo Kim could have gone and shot 63 today. He flushed it. This was flush, Rick. The number, I think he missed 5 putts inside of 7 feet and shot 68. 5 inside of 7 feet. JJ Spaun didn't miss more than 1 inside of 20 feet. Just an incredible performance from Si-Woo Kim, tee to green, and a terrible putting performance. And for some reason, he's got the standard length putter again.
He's a maniac. He's a true maniac.
I do not understand this. I told you we talked to him earlier this year, and he wants to. He has this magnetic force pulling him to a standard length putter. I saw him putting with that early on. I was like, what are you doing? You've been playing great. Keep the broomstick in there.
I tweeted this out. This is the flushers quadrant. So upper right, that's where you want to be. That means you gain strokes off the tee, you gain strokes on approach. Si-Woo picked up 5 on approach and a little more than 1.5-ish or around 1.5-ish on the off the tee. So that is basically exactly where you want to be. All of these guys, Ortiz, Jon Rahm, Viktor Hovland, Collin Morikawa, Si-Woo Kim, flush. What do you think about this, Greg? Here's my take on this. And I don't know if he's doing this intentionally or not. But saying that you have no chance on this golf course and it is too hard for you is elite sports psychiatry, like removing yourself from result. Imagine how free you could play by just saying, no, I've got no chance. This golf course is too hard. Let me just take some hacks out there.
Yeah, look, I'm a proponent of removing expectations, especially result expectations. But this is a little too self-deprecating for me. All right, if I'm coaching him, I'm saying, like, you got to believe in yourself a little bit here, right? It's clearly not too hard for you. I'm not saying you have to go up there and say that nobody can beat you, and you don't have to take it to the other side of the coin. But what you're doing works. This is where you go, well, I just stuck to my process today, and things went my way, and the 5 fairways I missed, I wasn't really hitting it into the thick rough. So I drove it pretty well, and I gave myself a lot of looks, and I got to clean some things up on the green. That's like, hey, minimal that's not what we got from Si-Woo.
This is every golfer that once you stop caring, you turn into peak Tiger Woods. He's just doing it from Thursday, hole 1 at a major championship.
Do you think there's any language barrier in that?
Probably, but he's much improved. And
I'm not saying he's bad in English at all, by any means.
But I do think that he speaks in more extremes because of it. And I mean, listen, when I try to speak Spanish or I try to speak Farsi with my wife's family, like I speak in extremes too. Like everything is great or everything is terrible or everything is, I don't know what I'm doing because that's all I know. So I do think that, yes, maybe there is part of that, but I also think that Siwoo is like, he's a Looney Tune. He's a Looney Tune.
Yeah, that's more likely. Now, so all I'm saying with the language thing is I take what he says with a little grain of salt, and I like your point on the extremes because we have a limited vocabulary, and it's a lot less limited than my Korean vocabulary. All right, so I'm not taking any shots here, but the reason why I agree with the Looney Tune, the maniac kind of thought process is like you're a player's champion.
Yeah.
You've won big time events before. You can play. You just flushed it all over this golf course at Oakmont and shot a disappointing 68. So I think it's very entertaining. I smile, but I don't think that bodes well for the rest of the week.
Now, if he came out tomorrow with the broomstick, how would you feel?
Like it's over. I'm talking at extremes too, but I'd feel a whole lot better.
Also, in at 2 under par, I've seen this guy near the top of major championship leaderboards before. His name's Brooks Koepka, and he looked like vintage Brooks Koepka out there, Greg. I mean, he has not played well in majors since Oak Hill. He hasn't really played well in 2025. He talked about a lot of the grinding that he's had to do with his coach recently, and just like the game hasn't been sharp. Well, this looks pretty darn good.
I thought the Brooks Koepka stuff in the press was enlightening today. It's very easy for us to look at live guys when their performance slips and blame effort. And it's very understandable, but it's sometimes wrong. And in the case of Brooks Koepka, we learned today that it's not an effort thing, right? He's trying, he's miserable because he missed the cut at the Masters and the PGA. He's not sitting in a bathtub of hundreds laughing at everybody else. He wants to play well. And I think that's encouraging. It's encouraging that he's working really hard on it. So, but you're right. In the vintage Brooks Koepka, you just have to look at the tee shot and the second shot that he hit into 18. That is a big boy golf hole. And when you go and stripe a 2-yard cut down the middle of the fairway, 329, and hit what was probably a 7-iron from 182, back it up and hold a putt. That's a big time stuff from a big time player.
I thought he drove it beautifully. I thought every time, I think I probably saw every single one of his tee shots, and everyone was either right down the middle or close enough to not, I think he was in the first cut a couple times as well. Like, I thought he drove it beautifully. I am fascinated by what the rest of this major championship looks like, because I also saw that he made 103 feet of putts. I also saw that he picked up 4.5 strokes on the greens and around the greens. I also saw the eagle putt that he made on 4 from, I don't know what it was, 40 or 50. Well, I guess I have it here. It was 42 feet. What was going about 100 miles an hour, and if that is a 1/4 inch to the left, is probably off the green, and he 3-jacks it or 4-jacks it. So this was a razor's edge. Things felt right for Koepka. I'm very interested to see how this goes.
Yeah, I'm very interested too. But there are a couple of things in his favor. Look, some of the other guys on this leaderboard, it's one thing. This was very clear today. It's one thing to look at the number of fairways that somebody hit. But what you really got to do, you got to look at where they missed. And how many times were you in the thick rough? And JJ Spaun wasn't more than once. Tristan Lawrence, I don't think was at all. I don't think Siwoo Kim was at all. So many of these players up near the top of the leaderboard just didn't hit it into the rough. If they missed a fairway, it was in a bunker or in the intermediate cut. and you're going to hit some in this thick rough, especially if the golf course firms up at all. But Brooks hit it in the thick rough a couple times today, and it doesn't mean that it's a bad drive. He hit it into the thick rough a couple times and was able to get it out or scramble for par, stay patient, keep up with, stay on the front foot, as Paul McGinley would say. So I was very impressed with this performance. But I think you're right. I think there are definitely still some question marks. Can you flip a switch for 4 straight days? Well, I was saying with Rory McIlroy, you can't just flip a switch and handle Oakmont for 72 holes. But he might be doing it.
Yeah. If anybody can, it's him is kind of the way I feel about it, but I'm dubious. If he beats the field average, if he shoots a 73 tomorrow and picks up another shot or shot and a half, like, okay, I'm in. He might win this thing, but it was very close to going awry, in my opinion.
So if you were looking at this profile and not a name, you would think differently about it.
Yes. The only reason I'm remotely optimistic is because his name's Brooks Koepka.
Right. So let me ask you this. Is there anybody at 2 under or better whose profile you would say, name taken away, whose profile you would say, sign me up?
Good question. The 2 unders or better. Siwoo's. Yeah, Siwoo's. Yeah, definitely Siwoo's. Loses a stroke with the putter, leading the field by far in approach, which is kind of vintage for him. Yeah. He can at least get hot with the putter. But no, I guess even if I don't.
No, you're taking away his name.
I'm taking it away. Right. I'm taking it away. Just blank names. Yeah, Siwoo's.
I might put Tristan Lawrence in there too, just because he drove the ball so well today.
Yeah.
But I see where you're coming from. A little bit on the razor's edge for Brooks, but he hit a couple shots that made me think, okay, that guy's ready.
If you let me extend to the 1 unders, the answer is Jon Rahm, who looked awesome. So a 1 under 69 from Rahm, where he had a stretch on it was his second 9. He birdied 3, eagled 4. Talk about flush. This was vintage Jon Rahm. Since he did not play the US Open last year, his last 3 majors have been awesome, and it looks like he's going to be in the mix for a long time here.
Yes. One of the 2 bogeys that he made today was a 3-putt from 26 feet after a ridiculously good shot. That was at number 6. Really, really impressive high cut into that back right hole location, and then he 3-putts it. The other was 11, and he kind of hit a sloppy wedge over the green and then wasn't able to get it up and down. But he left a lot on the table. This is another one of those rounds that he could have been right there with JJ Spaun easily because of these high quality shots that he hit. So 14 of 18 greens, gained 2 strokes on approach. This was a scary Jon Rahm. If you're not rooting for him, it was scary for the rest of the field.
Yeah, 14 greens in regulation, 32 putts, 65 feet of putts made, 104th in strokes gained putting. Every time, I thought his distance control was great. I thought he drove it, just pummeled the golf. I led the field in strokes gained off the tee, pummeled the golf ball. It was cool to see. It was,
you know what else he did that was impressive? A lot of opportunity in that round to get really frustrated.
Yeah.
As well as he was hitting it, it wouldn't surprise me if there was a moment where he kind of lost his cool, because it could have been so much better than it was. But he didn't. He stayed very level-headed. And I'll say this too. He sounded very positive, light, optimistic. I really liked where his headspace was coming into this championship as well.
Not that I'm ready to give him the US Open, but if he were to win, that would be his 3rd major championship. There are 3, 6, 9, 12, 17 guys with 3 major championships. How many do you think you can name?
With exactly 3?
Exactly 3.
Well, you have Scottie.
That's 1.
You have Spieth.
That's 2.
You have Vijay Singh.
That's 3.
Hale Irwin.
That's 4. Wow. This is already like way better than I thought you were going to do.
Padraig Harrington.
Wow. 5. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Not him. That's Jack Nicklaus. He's got 6 times that. Who else has 3?
I mean, some of these are like, one of them got his third in 1882. I don't expect you to get that one.
Yeah. Who's that? Like Harry Cotton or something?
Okay, first off, Henry Cotton, and he's on the list.
Okay. I think that's all I got.
All right. The most recent ones. So in order of when they got it. So Scottie, Spieth, Padraig Harrington, VJ, you got all of those. Payne Stewart in 1999 got his third. Nick Price, Hale Irwin, Larry Nelson. Then we're starting to get back to before 1980. So Billy Casper. Then it goes back. I mean, Kerry Middlecoff did it. The one that was from 1882 was Bob Ferguson, who won his 3 majors between 1880 and 1882.
Yeah, those were back in the days when you just signed up to play.
Yeah.
So yeah, different time.
That is where Jon Rahm could elevate himself with a victory. I got a lot of other places to go here. So let's go to Jordan Spieth, who shot an even par 70 after bogeying the last. Now, that is a tie for 11th, because you mentioned it, Greg. There are only 10 guys under par. So even par is a tie for 11th for Jordan Spieth. He continues to impress me with his driver. He was 21st in driving distance using all of the holes. He was 11th in strokes gained approach, 2.6 there. He hit 13 greens. I am buying Jordan Spieth.
Yeah, I mean, even when he missed fairways, it was not by much. I mean, he kept this ball in front of him. I'm trying to find. There was one at 18 that wasn't a great tee shot, but other than that, this was like a stripe show. You know, he hit it into the thick rough at 2 and wasn't able to get it to the green. Drew a terrible lie. But he was only 36 yards away from the green. It's certainly worth the risk hitting driver there. He found a bunker at 3, bunker at 4. Those were right off the edge of the fairway, kind of a deal. It really, other than 2, had 9, he hit it into the ditch, but that's such a tight tee shot. My gosh, that's a hard tee shot. And the hardest hole on the course for the day. And he made bogey there. He didn't putt very well at all. Some frustrating misses, some frustrating 3 putts. So I'm impressed with the driver, but it's the golf swing in general. Right? His iron play was spectacular as well. He was 4th in proximity to the hole in round 1, and 11th in strokes gained approach the green. So this could get really fun if Jordan's able to keep a level head, right? And so one thing I worry about with him, is he going to get upset at the breaks that are inevitably going to happen to everybody, or is he going to be able to play through that? But his game right now, his tee to green game is absolutely worthy of competing in this down the stretch.
He missed a 4-footer early in his round. He 3-jacked 15, which was on his front 9. Yeah, he did not putt particularly well.
I think he had 2 3-putts.
Yeah, I think he did as well. We're potting through right now. Our Patreon is heating up. We're adding more and more value to it. You now get there's exclusive merch there. There's discounts on merch there. I have another idea that I haven't even asked Greg about yet, but if that comes to fruition, that would be a very good value add. So if you find the need to support this podcast financially, thank you. There's a Patreon. If not, your likes, your subscribes, your retweets, that goes a long way. Jordan Spieth would elevate to a 4th major championship. That list gets shorter. I'm not going to ask you, but the most recent to get is 4th.
Ernie Els?
Ernie Els, Greg.
That only has 4.
And
Right.
only has 4, yes.
Right, because Rory and Koepka both got their 4th after Ernie Els, but they've since won again.
That's right. So exactly 4. Ernie Els. Now, I would argue that maybe the 2 most famous golfers, famous? Maybe the 2 most noteworthy golfers ever both have exactly 4.
Most noteworthy golfers
Most
ever.
influential. I'm going to say influential.
Really?
To the game of golf.
Are you talking like, does Harry Vardon have 4?
No, but you are on the correct. You're sniffing up the right tree here.
All right. All right. Well, see, my influential guys are Arnie and Tiger, and
these guys are way older than those guys.
Way older. Right. So this is old Tom Morris.
Yes.
And
come on,
young Tom Morris.
Yes. Old Tom and young Tom, who played at the same time because they won their 4th major championship just 5 years apart. They were competing against each other, which is also just completely ridiculous.
Oh, that is ridiculous. Now, you could argue young Tom should have more because, they didn't play an Open Championship because he won 3 in a row.
Because he won too many.
Kept the trophy.
Yeah, he kept. So if you have not heard this story, young Tom Morris won the 3rd consecutive Open, and at the time he just took the belt. It was a belt, and went home. Was like, this is mine.
And that was by rule.
Yes,
you win it 3 times in a row, you keep it. So they didn't play. It's one of only 4 reasons why they didn't play an Open Championship. Right.
It's like war, COVID,
World War I, World War II, COVID, and young Tom Morris.
Tom Morris taking the belt with him.
Which I, by the way, love the idea of calling juniors young, just young.
Oh, the best.
Hysterical.
Just absolutely the best. So, that is where Jordan Spieth can elevate himself. So that is even par for Spieth, a tie for 11th. Why don't we go here next, Greg? I'm going to go with Collin Morikawa. Even par 70. He went out early this morning. I'm not very high on Collin this week. I think there's a lot of reasons. I think it's a big yard for him. I think he has to play out of the fairway. I worry about the flat stick. I worry a little bit about the mental side of things sometimes with him. He did struggle on the putting surfaces. He lost 2.5 strokes there, but he was middle of the club face on every single approach. 2nd in the field in approach play. He only missed 3 of these greens, and his proximity was inside 29 feet. So that's the superpower, right? That is his superpower. That is what he has to do to contend at major championships.
Yes, he hit a lot of high quality shots. Now, one of those fairways that he missed, which wasn't many, it was a pitch out at 9, which that's kind of frustrating. You could argue bad luck. A lot of guys miss fairways when we're able to get it to the green. I shouldn't say a lot, but it happened for sure, especially when they hit it into bunkers. So he's got a pitch out there. That was disappointing. He had a 3-putt at, he had a 3-putt at 12. He was over the green in 2, although that was a bad spot. Long of 12, even though you had all that green to work with, was a bad spot. That's going to come up again later. A really short miss at 13 for another bogey. Those are the kind of things that worry me about Collin Morikawa too. Also, I feel like he puts a ton of pressure on himself.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like, it's almost like Jordan Spieth tends to be. Like the first round, everything is on the line right now. And he's good enough. If you took name away, this would be a pretty good looking profile too, because it was a bad day putting and a really good day tee to green, which, look, if you liked Collin Morikawa coming in, you're happy with where you are. But I could definitely see your side too, where you're a little worried.
Yeah, I'm always a little worried.
Yeah. I feel like he's played some really good rounds this year, but he's just kind of hanging on. It doesn't feel like he's all the way there.
Yeah, he's not advancing. He's retreating and just trying to like back his way into the clubhouse.
I got a question for you.
Okay.
He was asked, we talked about this on Tuesday. He was asked, would you take even par right now? He said, I'll take my chances.
Yeah.
Do you think if you asked him again tonight after shooting even par, he would still take his chances?
Yes, I do. And I think he'd still be wrong.
Okay.
Just too much confidence in Collin Morikawa.
Well, it's like the opposite of Siwoo Kim.
Right. Yeah. Find a middle ground, guys.
Find a middle ground. Let's meet somewhere in the middle.
My goodness. Let's talk about the big boys who were the favorites coming into the week. And they are not on the first page of the leaderboard. They're not on the second page of the leaderboard. They're not even on the third. And they do appear on the fourth page of the leaderboard. Let's start with Bryson DeChambeau, a 3-over round of 73. He made a bogey immediately out of the gate, Greg. Birdies on 5 and 7 before making 4 more bogeys. It's okay to make bogeys. This is still a round in which he gained about a stroke and a half on the field. But what was your assessment of Bryson's day around Oakmont?
Oh, he struggled with these greens for sure. He is traditionally a phenomenal putter, and a phenomenal putter on difficult greens as well. And he definitely struggled with the speeds of them.
The speeds, yes, the speeds in particular. I mean, he had some where he jammed 9 feet by. He had some where he left them woefully short. I thought his speed control was pretty poor.
And that's kind of a look. The superpower is his driving, and this is why we talked about on Tuesday. Like, why is he so consistently good in majors? He gained 2 strokes off the tee today to the field and hit 8 of 14 fairways, which isn't quite enough for Mark to win the wine bet. He's going to have to hit more. But, he could play from where he hit it off the tee for the most part. But you have some uncharacteristic mistakes, like number 12. What a circus this was. An unbelievable 6.
I think I have it. Hold on a second, Greg. I'm going to try I'm going to try to load this in, Mina, real quick, because I have the image. I don't know if this is going to work.
So I'll talk you through until we get to this situation.
Yeah.
Right. He hits a tee shot down there. Xander Schauffele's in his group and hits it in this bunker that's like 370 yards off the tee. He gets it in there. Bryson hits a tee shot in a similar spot, but it lands softer and gets into the intermediate cut. He then hits a 6-iron from 250 that goes over the green. Came out hot, came out as jumper, goes over the green. Look at what he did from there.
Yeah, so he is over the green in 2 on this par 5. His pitch or his chip to the front edge flies everything, Greg. He smoked it. He flew it for 53 yards.
Yes.
Into about the thickest rough you can be in on the short side.
Now, there's a couple things. If you see this in this view where it's flat, right?
Yes.
I do a lot of analysis from here, from this page that you're looking at right now.
It looks easy from here.
Yeah, it looks easy from here. This looks like a low chip and run all day. Guys get it within 10 feet all day. It's long, but you get it within 10 feet all day. You can't really do that because, one, he's on an upslope there. And the grain, it's into the grain. So if you try to play like a bump shot, very easy to stub it. So he wasn't wrong to try to go a little higher. But it's like he caught a fly or lie. And he missed it to the right. That's the other thing. The lower you go, the more break you got to play. And you got to now take it outside the green to try to keep it on there.
So to be fair, there were only a handful of shots from basically behind the green on 12 today. Bryson made bogey from here, which was a stellar bogey. Yeah, so I mean, it wasn't like a gimme up and down for birdie or anything like that. Nobody made birdie from that side,
right?
Yeah, it was ugly.
Wow, nobody made birdie from there.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. But what was really concerning was what he did next.
Yes.
Right? He leaves it in the rough, has to hole one from the intermediate cut for 6.
Which was a great putt.
It was a great putt. Yes. And it doesn't count in the putting statistics.
Right.
But that being said, it's that kind of that touch and feel around the greens has been really important, both at Winged Foot and Pinehurst. It's been really important in his success in U.S. Opens. And whoever wins this week will have great touch around the greens. It will be a requirement. But he didn't have that today, which was a little concerning.
I tend to think that he is not good at making changes and changing the momentum during rounds, but I think that he is excellent at doing it in between rounds, like going and finding something on the range afterwards or the next morning and immediately putting it into play. So I'm still not ready to say that Bryson is out of this golf tournament, right?
No, I mean, like you were saying, you look at the top of this leaderboard and there's not a whole lot of experience up there. It would be very easy to say that the real lead is 2 under, in which case you're only 5 back of that. And you got to go down to Jon Rahm for a guy that's a proven major. Well, you got to go to Koepka or Rahm for proven major winners. It's look, it's very open. There's a lot of guys between he and the lead, but there's a lot of inexperience between he and the lead as well. So, I mean, you go shoot 68 tomorrow, go shoot 2 under tomorrow. You're 1 over heading into the weekend. You're right there within arm's reach of the lead.
I also think that you can make up, and this goes for anybody, you can make up 7 shots in like a millisecond. If you shoot an even par round tomorrow, you're going to move 50 spots on the leaderboard.
Well, he's not going to move 50 because he's in a tie for 49th.
I bet you, well, he could move 50 back, I guess, but not if he shoots
not an even par.
Yeah.
Okay. That would be crazy. But I think if you shoot even par tomorrow, you're 3 under. I think it's very fair to say you're tied 15th.
Yeah. And then you're just right where you want to be going into the weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a birdie, it catapults you up the board. You're 4 shots out of the top 10 right now. That seems like a lot, but things are going backwards for the field.
Yeah.
They're not going forward. How many majors do we have to watch before we realize that?
Every month, 4 times a year, every month for 4 months. Then we do.
Yeah. I mean, the winning score is going to be 16 under here.
That's what we're on pace for.
Yeah. Just multiply these scores by 4. No, it doesn't work that way. So yeah, definitely not out of it, but definitely has some cleaning up to do around the greens.
Bryson was out early. Rory McIlroy was out early, and Rory McIlroy was putting all of those concerns to bed early, Greg, because he was pumping driver. He was hitting at 400 yards. He's birdieing 11. He's birdieing 12. That's his second and third holes of the day. He turns in 33. Sound the alarm. Sound the alarm. Rory McIlroy is back. He bogeys 1, he bogeys 4, bogeys 6, bogeys 7, doubles 8. He shoots a 4 over 74. Still better than the field average, but a tale of 2 nines for Mr. McIlroy.
What's incredible about this is he hit 2 of 7 fairways on the side that he shot 2 under. He hit 5 of 7 fairways on the side that he shot 6 over. Right? Explain that to me. If you were coming into this tournament, you would say, well, if Rory hits fairways, he's going to score well. But it just wasn't the case. These mistakes that he made on the front 9 were not really from. He was in the fairway 100 yards away at number 1 and made bogey. He hits it on the green, probably hoping for a little more release down to the flag, and then 3 putts from there.
Yeah. So here's a couple of things that stood out to me on the stat sheet. And I guess this does also passed the eye comparison as well. So he hit all but 5 greens. So he hit 13 greens. Of the greens he missed, he only got up and down twice. Okay. So there's a couple of bogeys. Of the greens he hit, which was a ton of them, his proximity was 63 feet 10 inches outside 150th. There's only 156 guys in this field. He's 151st. He was putting routinely from places where the 3-putt rate is higher than the make rate. He was doing it nearly every single hole.
Now the question comes into play, and I think I know the answer. Is that the new U.S. Open conservative strategy, or is that just Rory not being on form? Or is it that he's playing out of the rough, right? Because he hit a lot of greens. Let's look at his greens in regulation. So on the back 9, he hit 7 greens after hitting 2 fairways.
Mm-hmm.
Like 15, he didn't hit the green, but he was in the deep rough, and he hit a sweet shot to the front edge of the green and ended up making par. Really difficult out. I'm not looking at proximity on that, but it is a very interesting thought. The birdie made at 11 was from 27 feet, long putt, not hitting anything in there close. I just don't think this golf swing's really in order, and I don't think his mind is in order. And that's why you see, like, number 4 was another miraculous 6. It was a miraculous 6.
He was doing that at the same time. Yeah, he was doing it at the same time Bryce was making a miraculous bogey on 12.
Right. This was like, so this is the worry of Oakmont. He hit it into the fescue. He hit it on the lip of a bunker out of there. You can't get it to the fairway. Try to take on more than you should, which he did, nearly top it, get stuck again. I mean, it takes you 4 to get to the fairway. You hit a really nice shot onto the green, and your first putt is for 6. You got up and down from 175 for 6.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So with all that being said, like, are you more optimistic or more pessimistic over the final 54 for Rory?
Pessimistic.
Really?
Yeah, and a lot of it has to do with our thoughts coming in. He hit it better than I thought he would. He didn't score. I think it takes a mindset to go score out here. I don't think his attitude is in a very good place right now. I think he's frustrated. He doesn't need to be. It's like he won golf.
Yeah.
Like many have been saying, but he's not happy about it. It's so weird.
He beat the game, which did not free him up. It checked him out. And then to add, he was all pissed off because the driver news came out, and he had to deal with that for a couple of weeks. So
completely self-inflicted.
Completely self-inflicted, and he did not get to bask in the glory for as long as he probably thought.
It's self-inflicted. I mean, I wonder, like, was he just thinking that after winning the Masters, every press conference would be,
yes,
you won the Masters?
I honestly, yes, I do think he thought that.
Maybe that's why he's frustrated then, because you go to Quail Hollow next, and it's a place you've won 4 times. People want to know where you are. Like, the job of the media is to assess, predict, share news of things that are going to affect performance. And something comes out, however it gets into the hands of the media is irrelevant. Once that gets into the hands of the media, you have to share that. It's not a personal matter by any means. It directly affects performance. That's what the media should be doing.
Yeah, it was not a Rory McIlroy attack on him personally. It was on his professionally.
Right. Like this has nothing to do with his relationship with his wife. It's not a story about his daughter. It's not any of that. If it was, I would understand being upset, but it's totally in bounds. And he got all worked up about it. I don't know if that's what's affecting him, but it seems like it is.
It does seem like it is.
So no, I'm not very optimistic on Rory for the next couple rounds.
4 over par for Rory McIlroy, 3 over par for Bryson DeChambeau, and 3 over par for the number 1 player in the world, Scottie Scheffler, who looked pretty mortal, Greg. I mean, it was a trio of birdies on 2, 7, and 11, offset by, what is that, 6 bogeys on the card?
Yep.
And just a lot of different things going on from Scottie. Missed a couple of short putts. We saw that frustration again out of Scottie. What did you make of his opening round?
Well, he hits a great shot into 1 and misses a birdie putt. Hit a good putt, makes birdie at 2. Driver right up there into the fairway, gets it up and down. All of a sudden, he's in 4th. he was in 4th at the time. It's like, well, there he goes, right to the top. Then 3 bogeys in the next 4 holes. It's like, what's going on here? Then he makes a birdie at 7. All right, we're going to get this thing back. He'll finish at even. And he doesn't. It's a short miss at 15. That was a sloppy bogey that I think was really important. If he makes a par, which he should have at 15, after where he hit his second shot, he definitely should have gotten that up and down. He missed like a 3-footer. So if he makes that, he's at 2 over. If he makes birdie at 17, he's 1 over, and this is a totally different feeling. But ultimately, he didn't drive it in the fairway. He didn't hit very many high-quality iron shots. They were just a little off. He missed some putts he shouldn't have missed. Missed some opportunities, like at 12. He's up there green side, blows it over the green. And has to work really hard to make a 5 there. It was uncharacteristic of him. And I feel much more optimistic about him than Rory McIlroy, because I think this was the outlier, not the norm. But it's a long way back. But he's got to do what he does well. He's got to hit fairways. He's got to hit greens. If he starts doing that, then Scottie will get himself right back into this very quickly.
The good news for Scottie Scheffler is that if you trust the odds makers, they still have plenty of faith in you. He is 6.5 to 1. He's T49. He has the second shortest odds to win this golf tournament.
Oh my gosh.
Feels a bit crazy, but I've seen Scottie. This is the same thing happened. The same thing happened to Quail Hollow. He won by a million shots.
I don't think it was the same thing.
Why not?
Well, he was in 20th.
It feels the same.
Yeah, he played well. He played well in the opening round. I don't think he played well today at all. He's in tie 49th. I don't think he should be the second favorite to win. Maybe that's because I'd like to get a little action out of it. Cut me a break here.
Jon Rahm's the favorite at plus 550. Scottie Scheffler at plus 650. Brooks Koepka and JJ Spaun are 12 to 1. Collin Morikawa is 14 to 1. Bryson DeChambeau is 16 to 1. If you want numbers on Jordan Spieth, that's 22. We didn't even talk about Ludwig, who got off to a really good start and then fumbled a couple coming in. He's 28 to 1. He's in at 2 over. Xander Schauffele's 2 over. Victor Hovland's 1 over. Rory McIlroy is 40 to 1. I mean, there's a lot there, dude. We're going to see a huge shakeup. Some of these guys that I just listed off, the Ludwigs, the Victor Hovland, Collin Morikawa, Cam Young, Russell, like some of those guys are going to go nuts tomorrow.
Yeah, and nuts might be 3 under. Go shoot 2-3 under tomorrow, and all of a sudden, if you're like Cam Young at even par, you go shoot 68. You're in second heading into the weekend. Tied for the lead kind of thing. Could happen quick. Could happen real quick. But so, are those odds saying that Scottie is twice as likely to win this as Brooks Koepka and
That's
JJ
right.
Spaun?
Yeah.
Twice as likely.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's just a little extreme. Especially because Brooks has 5 majors.
5 shots over 3 rounds. and odds makers are like not even a chance.
Yeah, I get it. I do get it. I just don't. I think it's a little extreme. Does that make sense?
Yes, I think it's outrageous.
He's really good. He's really, really, really good. But it didn't get much better after today than doing it in the first round. Beforehand, betting him beforehand. What do you expect out of Scottie tomorrow? What do you think? What's a good over under for him?
I would say, when's the rain supposed to come? Tomorrow night?
All right, let's make this official.
Let's make it official.
Official weather report.
Meteorologist Greg.
Yep, this is the USGA weather report.
Give it to me.
We're looking at Friday, 6 a.m., 40% chance of rain. It's 40% literally all day. 6 a.m. to 8 p.m., 40% chance of rain. Light winds, they're under 10 miles an hour again. Pretty much all day. Not really much gust.
So do you think it plays similar tomorrow? Yeah.
Yeah.
I would set the Scheffler line at 72.5.
I'd take the under on that.
I was going to say 7. I wanted to say 72, but I didn't want to do an even number, and I was too afraid to do 71.5 because that would be like 3 shots better than the field. But yeah, it's okay. What if I say 71.5? You still want the under?
Yeah. I would take the under on 70. I think he shoots under par tomorrow.
Oh my God. If he shoots under par tomorrow, he's going to win this golf tournament.
So you think at 2 over heading into the weekend, you're in real good shape.
Yes.
All right. What do you think leads tomorrow night?
Let me pull the leaderboard back up. Two under.
I think there's going to be a little more movement up the board.
You think somebody's going to get to like 5 or 6?
I think 5 is in play. I think it's somewhere between 3 and 5. 3, 4, or 5, I think leads. You make me commit to one, I'll say 4.
Yeah.
Look, I think you can score if you go play well. Question is, who are the guys that are at the top going to do that? Is JJ Spaun going to go shoot even par?
Probably not.
Brooks going to shoot 2 under again.
Probably
not. So you're probably right. It probably falls beneath 4 under.
Spieth is 22-1. That's interesting. Ludwig is 28-1. That's interesting. I did bet that Cam Young at 130-1 or whatever, and he's
looked good today.
45-1 now.
He looked good today.
Hey, looks pretty good.
Yeah, I wonder if you get any. Probably not yet. You probably got to go a couple more rounds before a cash out option.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I got to get deeper.
He did a lot of work on the greens, though. That's the scary thing.
The scary part is that he just can't win.
That's why you need that cat. You need him up there heading into Sunday for the cash out option. You take it.
What else? Anything else? Round 1 U.S. Open. The good news is we'll be back here tomorrow night to discuss it all and see what happens. But anything else for now, Gregors?
Oh man, I think we're in pretty good shape, Rick. I can't wait to see what happens tomorrow. The weather is fascinating to me. I could see it making the course easier, which was very hard today. I could see it making it easier. I could see it making it harder. If it's actually raining, it's going to be pretty darn tough.
Yeah, active rain, the ball won't go as far. The rough will be just so brutal. But the greens will be more receptive.
Yeah.
But the ball will skid a little bit or whatever. Like you just keep going back and forth on all this.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, look, I think we just got to face that this is a U.S. Open and leaderboard gravity will come into play. It's not your traditional way that a golf course gets harder. It dries out, it firms up, the wind picks up. That's not what's going to happen. You got rain coming in. Saturday afternoon looks like it's going to rain. 80% chance of rain.
It's going to be wet. You're going to need your towels. And that's good because golf towels are now available on the Second Cut merch site.
What a pro.
Secondcutmerch.com. Get your golf towels. There's bucket hats over there, along with the hoodless hoodies, along with some other things that Mina has added. If you're a Patreon, you have a discount in your profile, I guess it is, or whatever it's called over there. Mina handles all of it, but that is getting improved by the minute. Okay, Greg. That'll do it.
What a day.
What a day indeed. All right. We'll be back at the conclusion of play on Friday to recap round number 2. Big thanks to producer Mina. She does all the hard work behind the scenes. Greg DuCharme. He's available at The Real GFD, and you can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been the Second Cut. We'll catch you next time.